I haven't seen it.
The meeting is being recorded.
If we could get started. Thanks everybody for coming in tonight. And my name is David Jones and I am the chair of the Parks and Rec Board. And we're going to go ahead and just read from this citizen comment paragraph that we have set up here. And it reads as follows. This agenda item provides an opportunity for citizens to address the board or committee on any matter that is not posted on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the board or committee should complete a citizen comments registration form and submit it to the board liaison or board chair prior to the start of the meeting. There's a 3-minute time limit for each citizen to speak with a reasonable limitation on speakers on one topic or item with a maximum of 15 total minutes on the same topic item. Who wishing to speak shall be courteous and cordial. The board or committee is not permitted to take action on any subject raised by a speaker during citizen comments. However, the chair may have the item placed on a future agenda for action, refer the item to the city administration for further study or action, briefly state existing city policy, provide a brief statement of factual information in response to the inquiry. So thank you. We have a good turnout tonight. Also want to recognize and thank the fact that we have our city manager, Ben Williamson here. Thank you for coming. And also Jawara Doreen. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I apologize profusely. Thank you for coming. Also, thank you, City Council Member Omar Roman. Thank you for coming as well. Appreciate it. And also, we have several citizens here tonight. Do any of the citizens that are here want to speak? Or I believe Jessica's passed out documentation. Anybody want to speak or any comments you want to make?
I would just like to, I did fill out a form. Why need to fill out?
And for the city manager and the council members, if you guys want to make any comments, I mean, you're welcome to make any comments you like. No? Okay. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll wait for.
And you can go ahead, if you could just state your name and address, just for the record, we are recording this, so that will have it.
Okay, my name is Ann Rogers and my address is 11004 Lakewood Drive, Dallas, Texas, 752. And I know I have missed some of the meetings. I've had surgeries and some appointments, but I just want to say that I have been part of the garden for over 5 years and have been actively involved. And I did my internship there as a master gardener and fell in love and with pack leaders. And I want to say it's just a beautiful green space that should be kept in Farmers Branch. And whatever we need to do to keep the funding and keep the garden, it just provides food to the MetroCrest food pantry. And each year our pounds of food is getting greater and greater. And then just our members of what it provides in their life. We have a school next door that's preschool, that the parents, we have those citizens there. It's just a very, very beautiful place that I feel so special that in this day and time, all over, it doesn't make what difference of what city it is. There is a food desert in every city, including Farmers Branch. So anything that we can do to keep this viable and up and running, we have the manpower at the garden. We're all willing to put in the hours, so we do need the financial part of it to help us. But it is just like thriving garden, and I'd like to invite y'all anytime to come out, or if you want to participate and help us or get a plot. It is just a beautiful place. So I just wanted to say that, I hope that we're always at the top of keeping this garden. It's so, so important. And it's been there for many, many years, many, many years. And it's just that we have a community there of gardeners. And many of them have been there greater than I when the garden first started. And I think that's so important nowadays is to have that community sense and then what it provides to everybody. So I'm not very good at speaking, but I just wanted to
Thank you.
have.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody else want to speak? Any other citizen comments? If not, we'll next go on to the next action item or next agenda item, C1. To consider approval of minutes for the August 15, 2024 meeting and take appropriate action. Yes.
There's a change on page 2, under C2. My name is misspelled. It needs to be a D in it after the L. All right. Otherwise, that's okay. I make a motion that we approve the minutes as
Are there any other edits besides correcting Jan's last name? Any other edits? Okay, motion's been made to approve the minutes. You have a
my
second?
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. Minutes are approved. And next is C2, and the purpose is to discuss community garden.
I'll go ahead and jump in here. Just wanted to let it, I know we needed to get this on the agenda. We missed it on the last one. We did speak a little bit about it when we talked about the budget. I'll just get the board an update. At the special call September 6th meeting, council was able to put the garden back in the budget, and the budget was approved on Tuesday. So now with the only caveat I would say, the direction of council was to, over the course of this coming year, was to try and look at options to have the garden moved to a nonprofit. And so that'll be what we look at from a staff. We're going to try and assist as best we can to kind of make that transition. And we'll start working with the group to get them in a position where they can take that garden for their own, and we would support it still at the end of it with water and things like that. We'll work through some of those details down the road. So at this point, I know Jan, you're and Margaret, because it's on church property, that agreement will maintain the current agreement through the year. And but I'll answer any questions that you might have. I know Barbara speaking.
Well, the garden this year, we surpassed a ton to MetroCrest in August. A little bit just under 2,100 pounds through August of this year. Again, for people who don't know, there's 65 plots, 60 of them are individually rented. We've got somewhere between 50 and 58 individual gardeners on the plots, and they can grow anything they want, but 25% of what they grow is open to MetroCrest. Yesterday, we took in nice sized watermelon, from what I understand, 10 pounds of okra, it was 25 pounds, which September is a low volume month because it's actually a planting month in Texas. So people are clearing out their beds and then planting for harvests for later this year. But to follow up on what Ann said, this is an amazing community. I've done a lot of things in my life, from working in a steel foundry to corporate finance at an airlines to teaching computers to elementary school kids K through 8. I've done a lot of stuff, but this group of people, these are the finest people I've known in my life, and that includes park staff. This is an amazing community, and I think it's almost an idealized version of what we should be. These guys would do anything for one another, and anything we can do to encourage that and to bring in younger people and kids. And people are like, how did you start gardening? I started at my grandfather's knee, And then I ignored it for probably a good 40 years. I didn't have time. I was building a life and a family. And then I found it again, and what it is and what it does is amazing. We get to feed people. The grace in feeding people is a great gift. And then you get to meet and to know and to love all of these people that you come in contact with on a nearly daily basis. So anything we can do to support this garden, because one of the gardeners wrote the cutest note to all you guys, I think, about how this was the playground for the adults. And it was, when she said that, it was like, oh my God, it is. You know, we're going to talk later today about Dutch Village and that, you know, beautiful thing. Great ideas, by the way. But this is a place, this lady happens to work night shift, and she comes in after work at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And she decompresses and it fills her back up. Everything that was taken from her working that night shift, she gets energy back from that. And it's, again, these are not tangible things. This is not, I can't point to it and say, you know, our cost recovery is X%. Because that's not where the recovery is. The recovery is in the people and in the community.
Well, thanks for your comments. I have a question is, do we have a sense of, we already have the nonprofit in mind, or do we have any?
We're going to
thoughts about-
probably have to build one, and none of us are versed in that. Although Omar says he has some experience, and I may be calling Omar because he has worked in some financial planning for nonprofits. I don't know that we can work under the umbrella of someone else. So it may, we shall see. And Master Gardeners have something set up, but then there's a lot of red tape and hurdles. And in Master Gardeners, when they fund something to date, all of the produce produced has gone to the food banks, not 25%. So they may, and again, I haven't had a chance to talk to them about it, but I may meet with some resistance in that 75% that is retained by water.
So who's taking the lead on trying to work on the train? I know we've got a year to transition, but who's taking the lead on?
It's kind of fallen on my shoulders.
Any other comments or thoughts about item or C2 Community Garden?
Of course, I agree with everything Barbara's saying. But I do think that it's the responsibility of the city also to help if you all, you know, if you're doing nonprofit, they know about those kinds of things. And they should offer some kind of assistance to help get that started and make it happen. I don't think it should fall strictly on these people.
Yeah, and I think that's what we'll be doing. We, over the course of the year, we'll be working through that. To myself and Mark and Barbara, and we'll see if Councilman Roman maybe can assist and we'll see how we do. Gives us some time.
And just to add to that, I did a FOIA and got all of the work orders. So I'm going through the work orders from July of last year through mid-August of this year, so I can understand how the initial $33,000 number was arrived at. And, you know, just going through the first 20 of them, it was like, well, we could do a better, there's a better way to do this, but we're confined to the work order system. So somebody said we needed fertilizer the other day, according to the work order system. Cost me $200 to send a guy up to BWI to get it. There's the truck and the trailer and the 2 guys go, and it's $200 for $175 in fertilizer. So it's like, I'd run up to BWI and pick it up if that were, you know. there are ways to work this.
Right, and I think that's one of the things I think and you and I have talked about, is just the operation of the garden. I think if it's more of the nonprofit taking that lead, I think it makes more sense to do that. But definitely with this, this year with our assistance there to kind of help with that, help with that transition.
Any other comments on the community garden? If not, we'll move to C3, FY 2025 budget update.
I'll just jump in this again and to kind of piggyback on the community garden discussion. Council did have that special meeting on September 6th. Did discuss some of the changes that were proposed that we reviewed with the board at the previous meeting. The slide below, the slide that was in your packet, it's on the screen there as well, but basically just kind of outlines some of the items that were reinstated. So council was in favor of reinstating all the rec center hours, the indoor aquatic center hours, and the branch connection hours. And then we did go forward with the reductions for the library. So they will be reducing their hours by 4 hours. They push that starting in December. We'll still keep that on the same timeline as we were going to do all the other facilities. And then we did modify the contract a little bit as well. And a new contract was approved with the budget on Tuesday. So all that is firmed up and moving forward. We did discuss the community garden funding was also put back. And then in addition to that, Halloween event funding was put back in for next year for 2025. So we added that event to our list of events. So we had previously we had 3 large events that we were budgeted for next year. So multicultural, 4th of July, and Christmas. So then we added a fall event, which would be the Halloween event. So staff, the events team will take the lead on that, and add that to their menu of events. And I think it'll really help us in the fact that this is the last year we'll have bluegrass under our hat. So next year because we won't have bluegrass, we'll be able to really focus on a Halloween event. And that will kind of take away from that. So I think staff's excited to get Halloween back. We really enjoy that event. It's been around for quite a few years. And we're talking too about kind of rebranding, changing it up, to get it more community focused and really we kind of that carnival atmosphere, kind of Halloween carnival type. And so that's what staff will be working on over the course of probably this spring, trying to refocus that. But and I just kept the library hours to that was the one set of hours that did change. The only item, the hours that changed was their closing time. The 1 hour going from 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So, yes, ma'am.
Just a citizen asked me how that was going to impact English as a second language. They thought it was going to keep them from having their classes the way they're doing them now.
It could adjust some of the classes. I haven't got anything specific from the library. The LSS, the library contractor, their rep will be out next week. I'm meeting with them, and so I'll bring that up. I know we are going to have to adjust the library board time probably a little bit. Because currently we meet at 6:30, and sometimes we go past the 8 o'clock, so we might have to adjust that time a little bit. So there will be some adjustments at 8.
Just to piggyback off of what Robert mentioned, the city will still host a Bloom Bluegrass event. It just won't be driven by the Parks and Recreation Department. It'll be driven by our Tourism and Economic Development Department. So there will still be a bluegrass. It'll look and feel different, but it'll just be driven again by a different department. Anybody have any questions for this item?
So I just have a comment, and I shared it with Omar before the meeting, and I just want to thank everybody involved. The fact that city council listened to us when there was concern about cutting hours at the rec center, cutting hours at the sanatorium, cutting hours at the branch connection. And then I really commend the city council. I really commend everyone who listened because they truly did listen to the feedback from citizens about the citizens concerned about cutting back. They adjusted the team just accordingly. I just really appreciate that. And I don't know if anybody else on the council has any thoughts or comments on that. Personal level, I actually was one of the speakers on September 6th, that special session. And I just appreciate the fact that we were listened to and that the city council made the appropriate adjustment. Any other thoughts or comments on that?
I just echo what you said, David. I think, I understand the process and everything, but I just don't think that, cutting back services, is needed, quite needed, and, that it's, can't, it's the way it is.
Well, and as Councilmember Omar Roman made a very important point, which is that, you know, as citizens, we need to be engaged early in the process, and that's a very valid point. And he'll be discharged. I wasn't aware of it until we were made aware of it during the meeting. So all of us, all the things the city council does is open to the public, and everyone can be aware of what's going on. And he made a very valid point that we could be engaged early in the process, and I want to take that to heart for future budget discussions. So, but once again, I appreciate the fact that city council listened and adjusted. Anybody else? Okay, now let's go to C4, agenda item number C4, which is receive the Summer Sunshine 2024 wrap.
That's the recreation manager. Before I do the wrap up, I'm going to introduce Kate McCarthy, who will be taking over this program next year. So she is our new recreation supervisor. She started 3-4 weeks ago, almost now. Seems like a lot. She's been a great addition to our team. So I'll let her introduce herself a little bit before I get started.
All right, so hi everyone, I'm Kate. My full name is Catherine, but I like Kate. Catherine's too Irish for me. So I come from working at Plano as an aquatics coordinator for the past couple of years. So I'm super excited to take on this role. I always loved summer camp. I was an avid summer camp goer as a kid. So yeah, super excited.
She's busy working on our October holiday craze, which is new for us, but she's doing a great job. So I'll go ahead and get started on our Summer Sunshine wrap up for 2024. So our program ran from May 24th through August 9th, running 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. We had 227 participants this summer with a daily average about 163. This summer we did partner with CFEIC, Blair Elementary, did the summer lunch program. So we had that from June 4th to July 18th for the kids. So they provided breakfast and lunch daily, Monday through Thursday. And then we had various field trips this summer. And you can see in the document we gave you, I think our most fun field trip for our kids were the Interstate. They love Interstate every year, and that's towards the end of the summer. So, and Hawaiian Waters, of course. But they love those two the best. And then our Teen Camp concessions brought in about $2,015.25 in revenue throughout the summer. And our carnival brought in $2,896.60 for a total of $5,001.85 for the total summer revenue with both of those. And then we have had issues in the past collecting fees from all our guardians and parents, but I'm happy to say that this year we collected everything by end of August 9th, last day of the game. So do you have any questions? Yes, sir.
I've got a question. As a parent who's had kids in the program and kids that were actual worked for the program. So, and I see your numbers. Does that relate into past years? I mean, is it still same level or is it more? What's the trend?
Sure. So I can speak a little bit on last year and this year, just so I am 6 months into my role. If Jessica has any input she'd like to put after me, she's more than welcome to. So our numbers were lower than last year. Robert had asked me why a couple of weeks ago, and I think we just had a lot of people taking more vacations. Towards the end of the summer, we had a lot of families going on vacations and kids dropping from the program. They are able to drop it whenever they'd like, but we just had a lot going on vacation. I think a lot wanted school started a little bit earlier than some of our school district, and so those are just a few factors.
Yeah, and from what I kind of gathered from the community, it's hard times right now for families. And so we do offer two different resident scholarship packages. But even that was a little bit steep for our families. And so I think we still overall achieved a really good number. It's just instead of it dropping off slowly, it was like a hard stop like midsummer, and then it just started just going down. So we started the summer off strong, a lot of families. And then that it just kind of got to what Ashley said, ended it off there.
I can remember when, and I should know which son, but anyway, one of my sons. And, I mean, people were lined up just to sign up for the program. And I mean, they got here early, like at 3:30, and they actually had to turn people away. And so I'm just trying to figure out what, is it the cost you think then that's keeping it from?
Well, my mother was one of those in that line because I was a summer function participant. And I think the price back then was, if I could be wrong, but I think it was like free or almost like $0. And so you basically had to get in line to get a spot, versus now there's that tangible item of the summer camp costs. And so we do break it down. You can pay it in full, same price, or you can pay it in installments, which is the same price. The prices will go up. So I feel like we are accommodating as best as we can. And if you are a CFBISD student and the Farmers Branch resident and get free reduced lunch letter, you actually get a little bit more of a discount than just the typical discount for residents. And there's like, again, there's two different tiers for that as well. So we can continue with community outreach and see if there's any barriers. But I feel like overall this summer, that 227 is pretty sustainable as well.
Now, do we actually make money on it, or is it break even, or is it a loss?
We make money off of it. Yeah, it's not 100% cost recovered just because of the increase in supplies and field trips, staffing, and that nature of the facility. But there is, I would say, at least a 60% kickback, which is great for the summer camp and the size that it is. Most rec centers, we've done our studies, they only offer a program for maybe 50 kids. And so for us, our capacity is 350 with the teen leadership program. We're doing very well, even hitting the 200 kiddo mark. Staff to kid ratio is great.
Well, I certainly know when I'm working out at the gym here, when they're in the gym.
You can hear throughout the day. For sure.
So another
Excited
question,
is a good way to put it.
I've only been on the board for a year, so the question is, my guess is we had a number that was pre-COVID. And COVID, my guess would have a big impact on this, and then now we are today. I'm just curious, the 227 number, how does that compare to pre-COVID numbers?
Pre-COVID numbers, we were hitting the 300 threshold. We had long wait lists and we were calling them. And then we went through COVID and we had the PALS program. And then, I mean, the families have still returned, but again, you're also getting to a different time where big brothers and sisters are also watching the young ones. So our first and second grade is really strong. And then, third and fourth, they kind of have high number of kiddos. And then you hit this room, which is the fifth, sixth, and seventh, and that's where it just kind of goes down. Because they're like, oh, mom, I don't want to go be babysat, stay home, play video games. So we try to do and plan different crafts and grab that age attention. And so we've ordered, a couple of gaming systems and things that they like, so that way they can play those things here while they're being supervised, and mom and dad or guardians don't have to worry about them.
Would it be fair to say that the fact that you're not having to collect any delinquent money would indicate that your pricing is pretty much okay?
I think so, because when I was talking to Jessica about it, it was my first summer, so I wanted to make sure everything went well, right? And so previous years, and Jessica was really on top of us to make sure we collect everything, because they really struggled in previous years. But this summer we did really well. I mean, we had one-off, two-off families we had to keep calling, but Celeste and Crystal did really, really well this summer and could be on top of parents. And we just had good parents. So they were on top of it themselves.
The money that you raise as a carnival, what all does that go to?
It just goes back to our revenue fund. So I've been tasked by Jessica to look at our youth program scholarship funds, which is something separate to that. It just goes back to our revenue. We can't use it for anything. But we are looking to dive a little bit more into our youth program scholarship funds to see what we can do with those funds in there.
Like, typically it's donated to, we might do a bench at the dog park. We might do something out at another park, or donate money for kennels over at the animal shelter. I think they bought or paid for half of the truck over at the Grove, that little red old plastic truck. So they do different things. With it being Ashley's first year, we decided to just keep this one kind of low and donate it back to the youth scholarship fund. And so that we didn't actually have a tangible item that it was going towards. The kids also donated for the Branch Connections game night. So they were a $1,000 donation donor for that as well. So we keep it within Farmers Branch and try to even keep it internally as well to help other departments within the city. And so $5,000, that is fantastic. Yeah.
Our teams worked really hard this summer.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So now we move on to C5, receive Parks and Recreation Department project update.
Okay, good. Just to get the presentations in your package, all on there. Now, I'll have it on the screen there for the audience. So, this is just getting everybody updated on all the Parks and Rec projects that we have on tap. And I'll let Mark jump in on some of these. Mark, do you want to give an update on Dutch Village? That's the first one.
Yes, I'm glad to. With y'all's recommendations on Dutch Village, we are going towards this style of a playground. We've almost got everything totally back on the pricing and everything. We should be taking it to council the 28th or the 1st, mid-November.
I have the 22nd on here, but we'll probably look at it the November meeting, probably on the 12th.
Everything that we were able to work and kind of condense this down just a little bit more to where we could get more playground. So we took some of it, the high-end part, to make some sensory panels and actually give the younger age another playground area within there. So they've almost got it totally wrapped up. We'll be good to go with it.
What do you think the final cost is gonna be?
Roughly between 450 and 5. This is with a 2 to 5. This is with a 5 to 12, the sensor panels, the PIP, so that it's more accessible by handicapped children. It will have shade structure over it and a new fall zone around. Yes.
How much for insurance?
Insurance we're still working on that because the way the insurance work, it's replacement cost, but they're not gonna give that full amount. So it's kind of one of those things. It could be between 150 and right about 225. So then our capital improvement part will take care of that. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, we've been able to work it in, and this is one of the things I've been pushing for, to get rid of the old pavilion and get a new pavilion and kind of bring it away from the street a little bit. So it's more towards the playground. So, go to council with it.
I can't believe with that kind of money that there wouldn't been more companies jumping, wanting to get the business.
There was, we did go out, but it's, they could not meet the mark of what we were looking for. It wasn't exactly what we were looking for, that what we brought to you. And timelines.
Right, and the way those playground companies typically work is they have very unique products, is the way I think I've explained it in the past. And, so that's why a lot of them are on a cooperative contract, because if you necessarily can go out to bid on the playground, you have to, specify exactly, and everybody has their own way to do certain playgrounds. So it's really more of incumbent on staff, because they all kind of play on the cooperative pricing. So it kind of lets us shop around and look at what options are out there. And then knowing these guys know playgrounds, what are the better ones to get, just from a maintenance standpoint as well. So that's we try to focus on the 2 or 3 that we know we have other ones. So we have some, assistance with kind of the parts, and we know we have good customer service on the back end. So that's kind of what helps.
And I will say that is the picture. of what we discussed as having a clubhouse theme. It's gonna be tamed back a little bit because that's got a lot of the concrete poles and added features to where we can scale that back with another company that they deal with. So it combines everything still together, but it'll still have the log, the treehouse sitting on the log. So we kind of took back some things, so much of the extra concrete features, that gets very pricey. And scaled it back to where we could still have the same things and still get more play stuff for everybody. So bigger bang for our buck.
Mhm.
Any other questions on the playground? Okay, we'll go to the next one is John Burr, and I'll let Mark speak to this one again.
Finally, finally. This is about killed us here. The septic tank should be going in here pretty quick. We've had one approval we needed to get. It's gone back and forth with some of the folks, and we are hoping to have this going within the next few weeks. So we have been in touch with them and they're ready to start this project. The overlook,
That's the next one.
this is the overlook that was when the floods got up real high, it started washing away the mass structure and it was about to go into the Trinity River. We had to act quick, get it taken down, and right now we're working to get quotes to get it put back up. And they're relocating. If you can see on that plan there, they turned that lookout, the actual flat deck for the lookout, and brought it more inland. So it brings it back about 20 foot to 25 foot away from the shoreline where it's kind of close to it, because in the process of when they were even building it, it kind of washed it away. They took care of the issue, put up concrete riprap to hold the shoreline, but with the rains that we got this year, it brought the levels up to where they were letting a lot of water out of the lakes and brought our river up and caused some major issues. We hope to have this going within the next probably 4 weeks.
So you think it'll be ready for spring?
Oh,
by the time
it should be way ready by spring. As long as we don't get any rainy weather, due to the fact that's a low area
Right.
and shaded, it tends to hold a lot of water. If we can get it done before the rainy season starts, then it should be plenty of time before spring.
Very good. Thank you.
We end up using the same designer again, or did you get a
Yes.
second designer to look at
The-
the stuff? And
The designer that was still under warranty, that part, them taking it, the contractor taking it down was not under warranty.
Okay.
But the designer, that's part of their deal, still falling under the warranty. So the contractor who put it up, we were able to get it down because it was an emergency. So now we're making sure we're getting the right price to put it back up.
Are you going back with the same deal here and
Uh,
everything?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, you'd have to complete us.
So, and forgive me, but what's gonna happen, and my understanding is, so there's a portion of it basically that we're gonna not rebuild because it's just too close to the water. We don't want to just be from, it just wouldn't be approved to just go forward with that. So, but what's gonna wind up is we're gonna have, it's still gonna have an overlook, but it's gonna be much closer than it was before because.
Further in.
And the same people that did that are gonna do that. The same people that originally put the thing in are gonna be the ones that help us.
Engineer, and yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on Burke? Oh,
So y'all mentioned y'all are using the same contractor, is it the same methods too? Like, I can't see it very well, but it looks like it's just field gear that's with a gray beam on top of it.
So we can't respond back. We can get back to you at a later time.
Is there any, forensic analysis, like hiring of a structural engineer that has a bit more capability to see like if their design merited the
doing or easier?
What we can do is we'll get back with you. We got your information. We'll let you know kind of what our approach is gonna be.
Okay, well, that was kind of my question too. That was why I was asking about, are we using the same designer? Because it already went down one.
Well, the issue was it was the proximity to the shoreline was what was the major issue. It wasn't the actual structure itself. That was the problem. So basically, we looked at that to move it more inland, so we should be, in theory, of course, it's in a floodplain to begin with, so we're already going against that. So, and, you know, and if for some reason we have more erosion of the shoreline, we'll make adjustments. But it's not really the engineering as much as it's the force of the water that came in at the spring that caused some of that issue. And
Yeah, but the engineering is to be designed to accommodate that. As an engineer.
right,
That should be.
appreciate the question. Thank you. So the next one is Orange Good, and we'll just give you guys, basically, we finished all the items at Orange Good. We've got we're finalizing we did go out to bid on the fencing, and so the temporary fence has been up. You know, I don't have an ETA exactly when it's go down. We're getting that scheduled. The security cameras are installed, security lighting's been installed. We are finalizing with our IT department our network connection. Currently, we're utilizing the cell service for all of the wireless connections currently, but we finalized it with IT that we'll have a better connection, so we'll have our security cameras and things that are out there set up can work better, so. Board have any questions on?
Actually, I'll just add a comment. What y'all are doing and having everything seems to be working because I've heard for the last several months, no comments from the community about the efforts and everything, the community feedback, their silence speaks volume.
And the hope is that once we get that construction fence down, we'll be ready. We feel like too, the attendance will probably go up this fall as the weather gets better. You know, summer months tend to be, we do be a little slacking when it's 100 degrees outside.
And it'll get dark an hour earlier.
Correct. So, yeah, so I think the use of it will probably pick up some over the fall and the winter months. So, we'll hopefully have it ready where we'll be ahead of the curve a little bit on that. The next item is just venue. All the landscaping was completed. Staff is still working through some of the punch list items. And then, of course, we have some upcoming events with Bluegrass and the holiday events coming up. I did want to alert the board on a change that starting October 1st, the historical park is going to move operations under the Economic Development Planning and Tourism Department. So they'll be managing all of the staffing and programs. Parks will still manage the site in regards to the grounds. We'll still help with the landscaping and things like that, but the actual, and one of the big reasons for that is the fact that the hotel motel funding, the majority of that is already managed by the tourism group, economic development. So this just makes it more in line, keeps the funding all under one management group. And we will work still closely with that group because all of our events are there and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll still be working with them very closely. So, but I just wanted to alert the board of that change. Okay. Next one is branch connection. Still moving along. Phase 2 of the project has started. Started on the 9th. This to remind the board, phase 2 includes updates to the ballroom, offices, the main restrooms, the yoga room, back storage area, updated new furniture, fitness equipment, and audio visual throughout the building. All the branch connection activities and programs moved back to the rec center after Summer Funshine was completed. So I think they have one program still at the church. It's the cooking program that I think will finish in October. But everything else has moved back here to the rec. And so they'll be here until spring when at this point, it's a 6-month construction, 180 days for completing phase 2. So we're looking probably March, April, maybe early May, when we get back in the building when everything gets finalized. So we'll keep the board updated on the progress. Senior Advisory Board, we've got them, they're being updated as well at their board meeting. So any questions you all have, just let us know on that.
Pardon me, Robert.
Yes.
Christmas and spring break, then, will those impact senior activities with having kids here for those breaks in school?
No.
Okay.
And I was gonna go over that in our recreation update. We actually also have an October break this year for CFB. We only have 10 kids registered so far. But these smaller camps give us an opportunity to go to new places and try new things and go all day long. So we can offset, like, okay, the seniors are in the room, but this time we're gonna take a 6-hour field trip.
Okay.
Cause it's lower children.
Yeah, okay. Somebody had just asked me about that, knowing that they were gonna be here.
Yeah.
The next item is Mercer Park. So we're kind of coming to a close with the developer items for Mercer. We were able to take an amendment to the agreement at the September 6th council meeting, which allows us to be able to install the trees that were part of the original agreement on the city schedule. They're going to actually pay us for the trees and install the trees. And we'll do that in conjunction with our irrigation work that the city was obligated to do. And then, but trails are all, the items completed by the developer will be completed before we close on the property and the property becomes city property. There is a picture in your packet of, there will be a statue included. That's called a mourning dove that the developer will be installing. That's part of their agreement. Just wanted the board to kind of see that statue. And then so the goal of, once we finish this initial phase from the developer, then that'll be our opportunity to kind of get in there, plant trees, get grass established. And then we'll have basically a working, functioning park. People are already using the trail system. And then that'll let city take the next phase, which will be looking at, we had in some initial concept plans for, and I think we showed the board, pickleball courts and things like that. So we'll be working on that next part of the project as we move forward. So this has been a long time coming to get us to this point. So we're ready to kind of move forward and then try to get those other items completed.
Before we go off of that,
Yes, sir.
question for you. So I go to the John Burke Nature Preserve, and I like to go on Saturdays. I'd like to go by and actually check out, if they just take a look at this. Can you do me a huge favor? Can you just give me like a street address of where this thing, you can get me close to where I could go by.
Yeah, it's at Chartwell in Whittington, and I can shoot you the park address.
Chartwell and Whittington. Just like to be able to see the before and after, if you will. Thank you.
I think the only other page was the budget, but we've already gone over that, so I think I just had that as the last thing. I can use this thing, so if there's no other questions.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll go to C6, receive Parks Division update.
Our men have been, working on this week, taking care of a lot of shrubs in town, along with contractors, on one of our other side streets, trying to get things down to a more manageable level. Next week, we have our ball fields crew that are starting to oversee Cox. And guys are working as hard as they can do to bring things back to what we need to be at.
And thank you for trimming the trees the bushes between Templeton and Mitchell along Valley View, because now you can pull out of Mitchell safely.
Yeah, right.
That started Monday, Tuesday. Yes, thank you.
And it was also nice that you put that out on social media. That they were doing. So that people can handle anything as long as they know what's going on. The only thing I would have added is, hey, it will be shocking for a while, but it will grow back.
We send letters to the residents that inspected that are directly behind their house, to let them know it would be unsightly for just a bit, but give it some time. It will come back.
Mark, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Just as kind of a follow-up, remember the issues you were having with the soccer fields? With the adult people coming in at night playing, has that all been resolved and everything?
Mature.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't,
No, you're okay. That's a great question.
I'm learning this, I'm sorry. We have deterred some of it. There's still some things that are going on. We didn't put the soccer goals back in. That way they could mainly just use it as activities to do some dribbling and just running some
Drills.
drills. Thank you. Drill. But we have had some success with that. We are still trying to get the lights finished. We're waiting on Encore to put the meter back in, but everything's been taken care of. You're still gonna have some of that. That group kind of moved to another property, so
oh,
we're trying to deter them to another property.
Detour them to out Farmer Branch. I'm gonna detour them with the Carroll Thinners.
leave that.
It just goes from one place to the other, so you just kind of move them along and they play a circle game.
But it's not as bad as it was several months ago when you were,
I would say it's not as bad as several months ago. It's gotten a lot better.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Next is C7, receive recreation division update.
So for the recreation division, I have just started working with a vendor to merge our social media accounts. So right now we just have there, like Facebook, we've got 6 or 7 different ones that I manage. And so what we're gonna do is comb those into one Parks and Recreation page, so people can just go to one page, one location, and find the information that they're looking for. And so I'm expecting we're starting that now, probably roll that out in January-ish. So I wanted to let the board know that that would be coming in the near future. Special Olympics, we have that. It starts tomorrow. Softball and then bocce ball will be on Saturday. So that's great to have them back in Farmers Branch. For our community events team, they are working on Bloom and Bluegrass, working on Christmas. Jocelyn, our community events manager, myself will be in North Carolina next Wednesday and Thursday with Alan and Mayor Lynn to receive an award that the city of Farmers Branch is receiving from the Bluegrass International Bluegrass Heritage Foundation. We have trick or treat that we're planning for the rec and aquatics, and it'll be just like we did last year. When Halloween in the Park got rained out, we had our trick or treat event, brought all the candy and all the fun games over here so it wouldn't go to waste, and just kind of set up in the south parking lot. And so the teams are gonna work together and they're gonna do that. We also have some cute little bags, reusable bags for them. And then we'll be handing these out on National Night Out as all of our Parks and Rec department goes to their block parties. And so it's kind of a special gift. We ordered these back in June, July when we kind of were getting the direction that we weren't going to be doing Halloween Park this year. So we wanted to do something a little bit special for the kids that they could keep for years and years. I was able to bring all the drinks and it held up fine. So I'm pretty sure lots of candy will hold up in this. As Ashley mentioned and Jan mentioned, we do have an extra, CFBISD put in another week for the kids to be out of school. And so I met with my team and we're like, so what should we do? Will we get a lot of kids? And we bring it back to community. And so we don't want to take away the opportunity for our residents to not be able to work because there's an extra 1 week of no school. So we are trying it this year. We're, reutilizing a lot of supplies from Summer Funshine. We will go on a field trip, but that's probably the only big expense. And then staff, per like a low ratio, and then have a couple of on-calls if needed. So we look forward to that for October. We only have 10 kids registered so far, but we did put out a flyer in Peach Jar that goes out to the school district. So hopefully that works.
What's the date on the break?
I'll have to check it back to you. I think it's like the second week of October. Yeah, but it's a full week. And then again, we'll have November break, December break. The rec center is still housing, as Robert mentioned earlier, branch connection programs and events. So we just had game night here last Saturday. It was a great event, even though it was at the rec center and different than their normal home. Boy, were they having a good time. My staff was sending me pictures and I was at home sick, but I was like, they made it work. You know, with the circumstances of the way the building is kind of structured, and it was a great time for them. We have Veterans Day that's also coming up and the craft fair that's coming up. And those are going to both be housed here at the rec center. We actually sold out really fast is what Jennifer Stone told me from the Branch Connection for the craft fair, which is great. So we're going to have a lot of local vendors doing that. That's pretty much what I have for recreation division. Does anybody have any
The
questions?
cracker will be in the gym, right?
Yeah, for the craft fair.
No, for the golf.
Any other questions or comments?
Probably, but I've seen a couple of the treadmills have been going down like crazy upstairs. High usage, so a lot of our, in the summertime, you get a big increase in college kids that come in and come back. A lot of the college kids will do their cardio outdoors, so it's a lot of heavy weightlifting during the summertime. Then when they go back to school, your regulars will come back. So we do have an increase in usage. And we do have a vendor that comes out and does preventative maintenance. But when those go out, it'll probably take like an extra week. So the team is working on those. Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you, Jessica. So, now we go to C8, receive an update from board members on parks, programs, events, or facilities attended in the city of Palm Beach. Anybody got any comments?
I guess it's been at the rec center. It's been hot.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Too hot to get out.
I've been here a lot.
Okay, then we go to C9, discuss potential agenda items for future meetings. Anybody have any topics you want to make sure we put on our next meeting?
We haven't heard anything about Squire lately. Is there anything to discuss or?
We can put that on the next agenda. Nothing really at this point, but
And if there's something to talk about, fine. If it's still in limbo, then
I added on the rolling, projects, but they're really updates. So, I'll add that to that. Since it's been a while, there might be some updates for the next one. So,
And we need to do a volunteer list next meeting for the holiday things,
For Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
or whatever the board is gonna do.
But we have an email going out. It's, I already had got it and approved it, but Linda Gossine was out this week and she's normally our staff liaison. For bluegrass, we have some opportunities for bluegrass for specifically for this board. So you guys should be receiving that early next week. She returns Tuesday. I think I got it. Oh, you did? I got bluegrass and I got this weekend. I got emails for both volunteer.
No, I think you were talking about Christmas.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, she talked
specifically talking about Christmas.
Yeah, bluegrass definitely, the thing, we got invited to the thing tomorrow for the,
Special Olympics.
Olympics, yeah.
but then you're asking about Christmas.
I was talking about Christmas, so that that kind of worked out.
We'll have Christmas once bluegrass is over, for sure, ironed out.
And then haunts and houses, that's out.
It's out this year, but it's coming back next year.
That's Halloween. Haunted houses is hosted by the historical park. So for those that are new to the board, the historical park puts on haunts and houses, and that is typically for the little. We have seen all age ranges that do come out, and it's a well-attended event that our board, Friends of the Historical Park and the Historical Park Board, volunteer to hand out candy or little trinkets to the kids. A lot of our internal city departments will go out to the different structures as well. So it's a 4 to 6 p.m. event that will take place at the historical park this year. So that's what she's speaking of. It's called Haunts and Houses.
When is that? What day?
That is on a 24th, October 24th. It's normally like the second week.
Yeah.
And then, they moved it to the week, that week before
Yeah,
Halloween.
yeah, okay.
So it would have been Halloween in the park.
And it's it's well attended by families, not
Yes, it
just
is.
a parent taking a kid trick or treating. It's usually grandparents and everything. They're using photo ops and it's a great time.
It really is. We donated a lot of our, items that we typically use for Halloween in the park for the like Booville and the smaller section. We donated that to allow them to utilize for this year.
So any other ideas for any future topics? If not, any other comments? Anything else you want to talk about before we move to adjourn? Do we have a motion to adjourn? Dan has made a motion. Do we have a second? Adrian, a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, say nay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.